Before we jump into the episode today, I want to share something with you from my heart. First of all, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I really can't tell you how much your support means to me. We've been doing the podcast now for almost 4 years. I can't even believe it. And I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you that listens, shares an episode with your friends, sends me a DM or a text message letting me know how an episode resonated with you or any aha moments. Seriously, I couldn't be more grateful to be able to create this podcast. It has been such a blessing in my life, and I love hearing the ways it's been able to provide value in yours as well. One thing you might not know is how much work it takes to be consistent with a podcast. In fact, did you know that the majority of podcasts don't make it past episode number 10? And we are well beyond that. And it's just a lot thinking of the episodes, recording them, editing them, managing the guests, making sure that everything runs smoothly and gets uploaded consistently and regularly. And so that's why I have created an amazing opportunity for you to support the podcast monetarily. And in exchange for that, you will get exclusive premium subscriber content. So for as little as $3 a month, you can become a premium subscriber of the podcast. And every month I will upload new voice-guided workouts and breathwork meditation audio for you. So that way you can work out with me, coaching you in your ears. You can also take a moment to reduce your stress and relax and come down and ground down with one of my breathwork audios. So if that is on your heart to support the podcast for as little as $3 a month to become a premium podcast subscriber, I can't tell you how much that means to me and the growth of this podcast. I appreciate you. If you're interested, click the link in the description, become a premium podcast subscriber, new content every month, and while supplies last, I'll send you an exclusive podcast coffee mug so you can have your self-love and sweat coffee every morning. I appreciate you. Now let's get into the show. Welcome to Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast, the place where you'll get inspired to live your life unapologetically, embrace your perfect imperfections, break down barriers, and do what sets your soul on fire. I'm your host, Lunden Souza. Hey friend, it's me, Lunden Souza, online lifestyle transformation coach. I help people all over the world just like you who know they are meant for more, get their mind right and their body tight, and go from crazy busy to crazy happy. And hey, if it's our first time meeting, welcome. So happy to have you. And if you've been with us for a while, it's so great that you're here too. I'm really excited to share this episode of the Self-Love and Sweat podcast with you. Hey, I want to tell you quickly about 2 ways that you can get connected beyond the podcast to up-level your health, your life, your fitness, reach your goals, but also support the podcast as well. So the first option is our Self-Love and Sweat monthly members-only meetup. We meet up on the last Saturday of the month on Zoom for 90 minutes to cover some important topics, to answer your questions, and then to also do a workout together. It's a great way to have that support, have that accountability, get supercharged, and get reminded that there are other people all over the world on this journey of self-love and sweat, and you don't have to do it alone. You can join your first month for only $1 using code SELFLOVE1 at checkout, and then it's $27 a month after that. So you go to lifelikeLondon.com/monthly, use the code SELFLOVE1 at checkout to try us out, test it out for only $1 for your first month, and then you can be on board to listen to the podcast, join up on the meetups, and just really feel like you're connected and thriving on this journey to reach your goals. The second option is our Strong at Home for Women 8-week dumbbell-only workout plan. We have women all over the world getting stronger from the inside out right at home, right? So we're ready to take action to get stronger despite the circumstances of the world. And we know that we're not about to do that alone. So embark on this 8-week journey with us. You can go to lifelikelondon.com/strong at home. You can pick up your 8-week plan. And the exciting thing is that every 8 weeks, we open it up, myself and my co-coach, for VIP all access coaching with us. So not only do you get the plan, but you get Zoom fireside chats with us. You get an exclusive way to chat with us anytime so you can ask your questions, share your progress. And we're always continuing to stay connected and motivate and inspire each other on our journey to get stronger, no matter what that means for us. So if you know that you're meant for more, you're ready to get stronger from the inside out, and you're just like, yes, I need a plan and some structure, something to tell me what to do. I know I'm ready, but I need that coaching. I can't do it alone. We are here for you. You can go to lifelikelondon.com/strong at home, pick up the plan, figure out when our next VIP all access registration is opening so you can get that support and guidance. And the third thing, I said there was two, but the third thing is you can do both. You can join us for those monthly meetups. You can be there for the 8-week program. You know, this coaching and this support is here for you. We want to get you real results that last so you never have to start over again. And so you guys are awesome. Enjoy this episode. Get connected. Self-love and sweat, friends. Today's guest on Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast, is Michael Wardian. He's a 47-year-old endurance athlete from Washington, D.C. He's a father to 2 teenage boys, Pierce, 15, Grant, 13. He's a shipbroker, professional runner, beekeeper, chess player, coach, and has won marathons and ultramarathons on all 7 continents and run over 250 marathons and ultramarathons. I feel like that's the best intro I've ever read. Mike Wardian, how are you? I'm so happy to have you here on the podcast today.
Oh man, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for making the time for me, and look forward to chatting today.
I feel like this is like the simplest question I can think of to ask, but I'm so excited to hear your answer. What's new? Like, what's new? You have such an extensive bio of all this stuff that you've been doing, and I guess you've been lining it all up and knocking it down. Like, what's new?
I guess the biggest thing is I'm planning a run across the country. So like the amount of complexity that's involved with that, like just from, as you said, I have a lot of stuff going on. So like just trying to set up your life so that you can kind of disengage for a couple months is overwhelming, at least for me. Like it's, I've never thought of taking that much time away from things. And so, I'm almost paralyzed by the enormity of the task at hand, but I've set little steps in progress. And so it feels like I'm getting everything sorted, but it definitely feels like there's a lot more to go.
Run across America. This is like I said, what's new? What's new? That was the question. I was like, we'd ask people, hey, what's going on? What's new? And I knew that you would just have, like you said, that task at hand. When you and I met, me and Mike met in Athens, Greece. We had an opportunity to do an event together where he was an athlete. I was hosting it for a really cool company that brought some of their amazing employees to Athens, Greece. And we got to spend some time there, like pinch me. Like that was just, so many amazing opportunities I know you have all over the world. And I've been blessed to as well. And it was so cool that we connected, and we really had an opportunity with another athlete, Jen Scottney. She's been on the podcast before too. And just to, really connect and vibe. And of course, I was interviewing you a lot. So I do know a little bit of your story and I want you to share it. But I feel like at the same time, I remember thinking like, man, there's so much more, so many more tasks at hand, like you said. And you just kind of are that next level kind of motivation and inspiration when it comes to like consistency and just like showing up and like doing the thing. And so when did you start running, and, how did you get to this point of 250 ultramarathons and marathons?
I started running to stay fit in college. So I went to a school called Michigan State and played lacrosse there. And then I stopped playing the middle of my junior year, picked up running kind of to stay fit, just no intention of doing anything other than, being able to, feel like I was doing something physically. Fell in love with it. And then, eventually decided that I wanted to see if I could run a marathon. And luckily I had a friend whose mom had just run the Boston Marathon, a lady named Vicky Boyson. And she was kind enough to give me a bit of a training program, which is funny because I still have it. I just saw it today when I was doing some filing. Like, it was just like, yeah, it's just like a written, like, photocopies that she made from a book. It was like your first training program. And it's funny because I literally just saw it because I was doing filing right before we jumped on the podcast. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I still have this. And it just basically said, run 6 miles on a Monday and, 8 miles on Thursday and do a long run on a Saturday. And I just did that. And my goal was to run the Boston Marathon once. And that was in 1996 and didn't realize you had to qualified, ran the Boston Marathon in 1997 and got hooked and been running ever since. Like, and it started out, just wanting to try to be, a finisher of a marathon like so many people. And then eventually it was like, can I run a little bit faster? Or can I run a little bit further? And and now as we were talking, like now I want to try to run across the country. So be careful what you start because you never know where it's going to end up.
I mean, exactly. And to your point, like you're like, I was just in school. I just decided I wanted to start exercising and running. Like you weren't a, star high school athlete or like track star, any, like been training your whole life. You just kind of decided pretty much. And I love that word because it's kind of like, yeah, you just kind of choose like, okay, today I'm going to do this and tomorrow I'm going to do this. And before you knew it, you were running marathons and like, but at the same time, people run marathons, I know people who run a few marathons, like here and there, like, did you ever get to a point where you were like, okay, I've done a few, like I want to do 200, or do you feel like everyone is, you know what I mean? Because also like big, grandiose, I think you said that in Athens. What do you say big about your goals and dreams? You said something.
Yeah. I'd say like audacious is the word that I've used.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's,
audacious, big, juicy 250 ultra marathons. But like, do you get to a point where you're just like more, or is everyone really, really special?
No, I mean, I think there's definitely some of that. I think it was more just to see if I could do it. Like, and I think that's so much of what I've done in my career or in life is just, I just want to have an experience and I want to see if it's possible for me and kind of find out. And, this is used quite a bit, but like what my limitations are. And then once I know what they are, try to smash through them. So like, okay, maybe, for me starting out, it was, a 5K or a 10K. I started out a little bit bigger with a marathon, but then I heard about a 50 miler and I was like, well, I didn't even know you could run that far. And so then I was like, I want to try it and see if I can do it. And the same with like 100K and then 100 mile and then a 200 mile and then a race where you just keep running until everyone quits called like a big backyard ultra. So it's like one of those things where I want to keep kind of pushing the boundaries of what's even imaginable. And so like for me right now, like I've worked many, many years to get to the point where like I physically think that I can run across the country and like mentally I feel like I have the capacity to do it, but I still want to do it, and to see like, because it's going to be hard. Like if you're thinking like, oh, I'm just going to run 50 miles a day for 60 days, like, and that's not going to be hard. Like, I think that you're going to be in for a rude awakening.
Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit, your training, because I actually, you said 5K. I have a 5K medal. I did a 5K earlier this year and I PR'd and I was super excited about it. So I put this next to me today because I was like, I wonder if Mike saves medals. Do you save medals? Do you have your medals?
Oh my gosh. I have not all of them, but I have a lot of them. But I also like have donated the medals there's a thing where you can donate it for medals for Metal and they give them to like kids that are in the hospital and stuff. It's like one of the coolest charities ever. But I have some, I just actually was cleaning up and I just found a bunch of medals, like my Boston Marathon medal from this year, my Chicago Marathon medal, my Big's Backyard Ultra Award, which was just like a tiny little dog tag, but it's really just, it's, those things are all special. And like, I don't save them all because, we don't have a huge house. And I think, there's just too many. But I do try to cherry pick some ones that are, have a lot of meaning.
Which ones were your favorite?
I definitely, just because Boston Marathon's the race that got me into marathoning. I have a lot of, the unicorn, the Boston Marathon, medal. I've got a couple of world championship medals that are kind of special. And then even some, there's like the big Disney one. Those are the ones I like to give away to the kids because they like get so excited. And there was one from, I think Little Rock had a medal that was like, I don't know, probably like 2 feet big or something. And like, those are the ones that, I think that other people can find more value from than I have this little tiny one. I don't know. Have you done the Comrades Marathon in South Africa?
No, I've never been to South Africa. Oh, I want to go so bad.
It's worthwhile. And they have like, it's like one of the oldest races in the world. And like, I was so excited to earn like this I was trying to earn a gold medal and I ended up with this medal called the Wally Hayward medal. And I was so excited for it. And it was like the size of like a small penny, but it was still special, so it doesn't necessarily mean the size. It's the effort that it took to get it. And I think that's probably why you're keeping, your medal close. It's like, the medal is cool, but it's like all the work that went in to earn that. And the same with like your time, right? I mean, you don't just get a PR without putting in effort and time and energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like the race environment is so fun. It was my first race. After I think like a year and a half, I didn't race for a while. I was like running, we all didn't do much. And I was running a little bit, but it's always like races and training that kind of inspire me and motivate me. So I remember running and being like, oh man, I felt like I was flying because I'm like the people, the energy, the vibe, just kind of everyone doing it together. Yep. It was just so great. It's so great. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Your training, you said how many miles a day for how many months?
To get ready to run across the country or,
yes.
Well, my training for it now has been pretty, easy actually. I mean, I've got 100K this week, on Saturday out in San Francisco for the Golden Gate Trail Classic. It's, part of the Spartan Trail series. So I'm going out tomorrow to San Francisco. And so that'll be kind of my last longer run for a couple of weeks, and then talking about doing a just for fun 100-miler maybe by the end of the year with a friend. And other than that, I've got some marathons coming up, but it's just kind of building my body to get ready to go in May. And so the training will probably be like 70 to 120 miles per week. And then you said you do follow me on social. And so like, if people do follow me, like I'm doing a lot of like strength training. So 2 days a week with a personal trainer, a guy named Jesse Fuller, and then working out with my buddy Tom the other 3 days of the week, actually 4 days. So like 6 days of strength conditioning type training and then running on top of that.
Yeah, totally.
And then pickleball. Actually, I didn't put pickleball in my
pickleball. You're the third person, lady that I met, and my uncle. They're obsessed with pickleball. And we were just talking about this last night. We had a little get together dinner at their house. And my uncle's like, I feel like the only people that talk about pickleball are like the people who are obsessed with pickleball. So I'm so excited to hear your take on this.
Yeah. No, I'm totally super into it. I have like a pickleball tournament coming up with my buddy Andy in a couple of weeks. And I'm trying to eventually get good enough to go pro. So like, it's definitely one of those, like priorities for me also is like getting much better at the sport of pickleball. And, I love it as like just a different thing to do on top of the other stuff that I'm already, involved in.
Yeah. It's like beekeeper, chess player, marathoner.
Well, failed beekeeper because my bees keep dying. It's the second year in a row or moving on. I don't know if there actually weren't a lot of dead bodies or dead bees. So I feel like they just kind of vacated the hive, which is sad. But so now I have an empty hive that I'm going to try to fill again.
Okay, so will be your third round of bees, and you think they're just like going on vacation or going to find another hive, or you don't find dead ones around?
Yeah.
No, how do you know? Like, as a beekeeper, I always wondered that too. I'm like, how do you keep track? Like, how do you do not like roll call, but you kind of have an idea, right? So like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell because of the activity in the hive. Like, you just see them coming and going. So, like, if you have a good hive going, it's like continuous flow of bees going out and harvesting. And then I thought that they were just hibernating for the winter, and so I just was leaving them alone. And then I went in there to check on them and like feed them, and they were all. It was just empty. It was like cobwebs, and like all the honey had gotten like harvested by a bunch of other bees. So I guess what I was seeing was actually bees coming in and stealing all the honey. And so like it sucked. Yeah. So, and then the year before my queen was just bad. And so they all just left. So hopefully I'm going to get a good queen, and a safe hive. And like, yeah, I mean, where we live is really good for the honey production was insane. Like they did a great job, but hopefully if I start a little bit sooner, that'll give them more resources to make it and stay, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, all the best for you and your bees. I was wondering, like what that is like. And, you see it because I grew up in the Central Valley of California. So there's a lot of agriculture and like the talk of like, oh yeah, the bees are coming, pollination, like to do all of that. I have always, like heard that. And then I just remember me and my friend Allie were talking about it one time, and we literally had that conversation where I was like, how do you keep track? Like, how do they know? And I think we might have watched like a little bit of a documentary on it where like, yeah, like you said, the queen and like kind of keeping things all together. So, I mean, I feel like that in itself would be a full-time job to manage on top of what you're doing training wise. And, but it's always nice to learn more about, sports are amazing and great, and what we do there is so awesome, but it's always like the other little, fun interests and cool things that we like to do outside of that, or what we just kind of like find exciting or entertaining that always, that I like to talk about too. Cause I don't think beekeeping is in my future, but if I have any questions, I'll ask you.
Yeah, it's actually not as scary as I thought it would be. Like I thought I'd be more intimidated by the bees, and I still haven't actually gotten stung yet. So, yeah, I'm excited that part has been going well, but I just want them to be successful. And so like, yeah, it's been a bummer, but I expect it to get better.
Yeah, for sure will. For sure. What you said before about following you on social media and the strength training that you do and post, like you have you work out a ton. Like, how do you, like you said, you have a trainer. Are you very regimented with like timing that you train, or, the way that you structure it? Do you find yourself super motivated to do all of that? Or do you feel like, kind of ebbs and flows? I feel like, you post a lot of really, really great workouts and stuff I check out a lot. And I'm wondering, like, he runs a ton, trains a ton, super fit. Like I'm hungry looking at you. Like, I just feel like I work out for like a half an hour, and I feel like I'm just like trying to do all the things to make sure I'm eating enough, staying hydrated and whatever. So with this immense like training volume, how do you just like stay energized, like, and fueled up is I guess what I mean, most importantly, because you're killing it. So you're doing a great job. I'm just always wondering, like, with my 5K medals, and all this training I'm doing, sometimes, I just feel like, it's a lot. So what does that look like for you when it comes to managing that? Are you like a stickler for time? Are you a stickler for nutrition, or like, how do you do that?
I mean, for the timing, I think the biggest thing, and I think it's something you probably are aware of, is like just making the time for it. Right. So like I make it a focus of my day. And so like I wake up early, like 4:45 in the morning, and start training at like 5:30. So, there's not a lot that can get in the way other than wanting to sleep. So like I make sure that I always get that first workout in. And then the second workout, it used to be I'd run commute to work. Now I'm working from home. And so like so many people, like I'm finding like that a little bit different. So like I tend to go I still like to kind of stay on the same, like, go work out and then get some run in. But then I feel like I have more flexibility throughout the course of the day to work out again or do something. And then I feel like I have a lot more choices for food just because I am at home. And so like the nutrition is, I still make stuff as though I was at the office, but I feel like I have more choices, right? And so I typically have oatmeal. My wife's like, stop posting pictures of your oatmeal every day. No one cares. But I really love that. Like, I feel like that's a really healthy option. And I'm completely content with nice oatmeal. And then I eat a lot of almond butter. And so I have like almond butter and honey, or almond butter and banana or something like that. And so that's like usually what I do for breakfast. And then lunch is, salad or soup or something like that. And then snacks throughout the day, and fruit and veggies as much as possible. But I still eat a lot of carbs. Like, I'm not like one of those people that avoids carbohydrates at all. Like for me, that's a good fuel source and something that I am, a big proponent of. But it changes daily, but it's, try to be as healthy as possible and try to get in as many calories as I can, like, 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day if I can. And I usually don't drink a lot of calories. So like mostly water. But yeah, that's what I typically do.
And you're vegan, right? You don't eat dairy or meat?
I'm vegetarian. So like I eat eggs and honey, being a beekeeper, right? But but yeah, those are the only two animal products. So just eggs and honey, and pretty much I eat eggs just because of the amount of travel. Like I'd say I ate very less eggs during the pandemic when I was traveling, even less. But I think for traveling, like eggs are something safe that I can find in most places in the world. Whereas sometimes it's harder to eat veggies, that are not going to make me sick.
Yeah. Agreed. That's awesome. You are a dad and a husband, and you're training a ton. And I know you said it's like about time management and things like that too. Have there ever been moments where you're like, I think everybody kind of has maybe that conflict sometimes, like something you're super passionate about and time. Do you guys communicate and say like, okay, now I'm training for this, so for the next few months, I'm unavailable as much as I would normally be? Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, what does that look like? Because that's two times training per day. Like, I don't know how many hours that is. I don't know how tired you are. Like, what does life look like as you're pursuing like these audacious goals and dreams? And I'm sure your family follows suit. I'm sure your family is just absolutely amazing in what they're doing and going after and loving in life. But it takes time. So how do you make that time to be there for your family and then also to show up for your goals? Because that's a lot of like mental preparation too, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like trying to communicate them to everybody. So like, I think just making people aware of like what you're trying to accomplish. And then, but yeah, I don't really take time away. So if I'm, if I'm running or whatever, like when I'm home, I'm still a dad. So I like pick my son Pierce up from school and take him to practice, and like try to pick him up at practice and play pickleball. Like our son Grant is 13 and he's super into pickleball too. And so like we go and play pickleball in the afternoon or whatever. And so like if I'm here, I'm trying to be as involved as I can. And so like I think that's one of the luxuries of working at home, is that you can be there for your kids and see them off to school. Like I walk them to the bus stop ish. Like I don't go the whole way, but I go some of the way with them. So I get them out the door in the morning and help pick them up at night. And I want to be there to try to help them with homework or what, I mean, as best I can. Like now their math is so hard. Like it's hard for me to like help. I'm like, I'm not very, like, I'm pretty good at math and they're doing stuff that, is beyond where I was able to get to. So like, I help as much as I can in those aspects and, help coach their teams and all that. And then I just fit the training in around that. I mean, I think that that's what you have to do. Like, even though I'm a professional runner, I still want to be a dad first. And so that's kind of where my focus is. And if that means I can't go for like a 6-hour run, then I don't go for a 6-hour run. But I'll try to find that time in other ways. And I am starting to travel more, but like for the last year and a half or so, I've been really, really engaged. And so, that was, of all the things that happened during the pandemic, I'd say that was probably one of the best things, was just kind of refocusing on the family and being there for them when they need me. And yeah. And then the other thing is I try to bring them as much as I can. So they've been to like, I think 23 countries as a 15 and 13-year-old, and they're going to their sixth of the 7 continents next year. And so like having them a part of, what I'm doing and seeing it, I think is cool. And then it also shows them, different cultures and different ways of doing things, but also different ways to, earn a living, right? Like you don't have to, be a banker or doctor or a lawyer. Like you can do amazing things as a podcast host or content creator or fitness personality or, professional runner or whatever. And so like, I just want them to know that there's different ways to make their impact in the world. And I hopefully we're showing that to them, through these adventures.
Yeah, that's so cool. So cool. And
it's really cool, man. I really wish that I had that exposure because, I was an older generation where, you go to college and then you get a degree and then you go to work and then you work there for as long as you can and then you retire and then you do the things you want to do. And I think people are flipping that on their head. They're like, why don't I do the things I want to do? And if I can make a living doing what I want to do, then why not? Right. And I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you 100% on that. I think that, the conventional ways are great, but, there's just have been so many opportunities, like you said, just like so many possibilities to be creative and be inspired and find a way and not have to follow X, Y, or Z path. And for me, I feel like that's super exciting for some people. And I even from like where I grew up and, my family too, it's like I don't know, lack of better words, like the not normalness of it, or like the not trading the time for money, being able to have experiences in life without working your life away and having that kind of, for some people, I feel like it's a little bit too, uncertain. But like you said, every day you can, make a choice to make your impact in like whatever way that might look. And I think that's super cool. And I really, not everybody gets the opportunity to parent that way. Let's say it like that. And you have excellent perspective too, and been able to bring them all over the world. And I started traveling when I was 17 and I love it. And like you said, the places you can go and the people you can meet and just like the different, like how you and I met and you just get to like, be in this in space.
It glitched.
Did you lose me for a second?
Yeah, it totally glitched. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, it's okay. It could have been my thing too. What did I say last? Did you hear me say last?
You were saying like you started traveling at 17 and then it glitched.
It's okay. Yeah, I was just saying I started traveling at 17 and I just loved it. And I feel like the people that you meet and like the people you come across through traveling are usually people who, are from different parts of the world too. And so I think, like you said, 13 and 15 and having been so many places, I really think that's like an invaluable lesson. Like you could never teach that in school, right? You only learn that from experience and you only get that through experience. That's so cool that they get to do that with you.
Well, it's also interesting too, because they just look at the world differently. Like they know that there's a way that you order ramen in Japan and they have experienced what it means to sit in a hot spring in New Zealand. And like, they have seen the Southern Cross or like they, know that you should probably bring toilet paper because you might have to go on the subway in Japan or China or somewhere. And so like, they just have a feel for like that things are different, but it doesn't mean they're better or worse. They're just, unique. And, the Doritos you get in Iceland are not going to be ranch. They're going to be cool American. And so like, they have like those like ridiculous points of reference. And it's shaped. It's funny how I've seen it shape the way that they think about things in a different mindset than some of their contemporaries.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know exactly what you mean, where it's like, instead of it making you feel uncomfortable, you're just like, this is the way that it is. And I know just from traveling a lot too, with like my friends would come to visit, or my family would come to visit every now and then, and they would travel, but not a ton. And you could see how some of those little things that we would get excited about, like, no, 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 this is the type of Dorito they have here. This is what you do here. It's always like, well, where's the, uh, where's the, what I'm used to, I don't, this is
Yeah.
too, kind of, oh, this makes me uncomfortable. And you could see it like in their body languages at restaurants or wherever. And I was always trying to be nice and accommodating, because I know, if you're not, well traveled, sometimes it's challenging. And I'm just like, let's go here, there. Then we go, do this. And sometimes I would just kind of like sit there and like, like they, it's just like, okay, your feathers get a little bit ruffled. But I think, yeah, very much, like the experience you've talked about with your kids, like that's the coolest part, is like, that's how you do it there. And this is what you do here. And this is like, when I go here, this is how you do it. Cause that's cool. And I want to learn more about, what that means to, be in that space with them and not try to make my way like the best way. And I think being able to do that in so many, like, facets of that word, like sit at the same table with people that are different than you and just like embrace the differences and learn from them, is like what I love to do, the most. It's like, I don't want to be around people who are always, and maybe this, goes into training and like the way that you feel like maybe challenging yourself with other people too. It's like, I don't want to be around people who are always, just kind of complacent where they are. Like, I kind of like the challenge of wanting to be around people who are cool to be, at that space in a challenging conversation, or with someone who's kind of different, and embrace it and not want to be like, oh, my way. So I feel like sometimes being in that space is challenging. It makes you want to up level and like learn and be uncomfortable and learn something new. So do you feel like other people do that for you, or those experiences do that for you, like when it comes to your training?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and just to go back to the kids, like I feel like they're comfortable anywhere. Like you can, put them on a table with a bunch of like neuroscientists, and they'll be just as comfortable as like sitting with a bunch of kids playing video games, or, so like that, flexibility of mindset is I think pretty impactful. Like at least like it seems like to me, and like they're not easily swayed. Like they don't like just go with what everyone's doing, which is I think nice. And so they're not party to swaying times and trends or whatever. They're just like, oh, this is something interesting, and I want to talk about it. But as far as my training goes, I mean, I feel like I do so many different events, from 1 mile to 5K to 100-mile. Like this weekend, 100K. Doing long events where you kind of don't have, it's just a fixed time type thing where you just run 4 miles every hour on the hour until everyone quits, not knowing how long it's going to be. So it could be 24 hours. It could be 36 hours. It could be 60 hours. It could be this year. The guy that won, this guy, Harvey Lewis, ran like 85 hours, like, which is just bonkers to me. Like that, he was able to do.
Like, do you hallucinate?
I did for the first time in a long time. Yeah. And it was lame though. Like I started hallucinating like less than 24 hours, which was like, for me, like a record. Like I've never, had that, level of just unbelievable, like lack of, focus as far as like that. It was weird though. Cause like I knew I was hallucinating, and I was like, that's not real, but it still felt and looked and smelled and everything.
What were you seeing? Was it like, what did you see that you were?
It was so lame. It wasn't even anything cool. It wasn't like rainbows and unicorns. It was like an overpass that was just the way the trees looked. It looked like an overpass by where I run at home. And then I saw like a wedding setup. Like someone had set a bunch of chairs up next to the road in like a semicircle, like what you do with like the bride and groom would be in the middle. And both those things were not there at all. And then the other thing was like the blacktop was like swimming. So it looked like it was like water, but like dark water, and that I was going to like stick my foot in it. But it was like all this stuff, like I've never had that before. And I knew it wasn't real. but I was like, well, that's just weird. But it was cool. Actually, there was a guy that that was doing it way worse than me. He actually fell asleep while we were running and ended up like hitting a fence. And I was like, hey man, you need to run with me. Let's just stay together. And so I was like, let's just talk for this loop. And so we talked, and then we made it back and got a little more caffeine and felt fine. I mean, it was like one of those things where, you know, it was weird, but I hadn't had that happen before, especially in a race that, you know, I wasn't even that deep into. I think I was, you know, 30 hours or something, which is not, it sounds long, but it's not as long as, you know, for a race like that, you know? So yeah, it was weird, but happened.
Yeah, I would absolutely imagine, especially when you go for the longer, like you said, overnight, you're not even, I think you're not exercising and not sleeping. Let's say if someone, you know, didn't sleep for 24 hours or whatever, I think you could already kind of start to hallucinate and like, you know, feel a little bit loopy, but you know, when you're running and of course moving and expending a ton of energy in the meantime, I can imagine you. I was listening to I think it was like a keynote or something somewhere of the lady who swam from Florida to Cuba. I think she did. She did.
Oh, Diane, right?
Yeah. What's her last name? Diane.
It's like Nayez or something, but that's not right. But it's something like
right.
that.
Diane,
yeah, she's super badass. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw her speak, and her keynote was awesome, rocking. But she talks about how she's swimming and she's seeing like the seven dwarves, and she's just like looking down, and like she had some crazy hallucinations. And she was in salt water, so her skin, like she had tried to have protective gear on, but her skin was like swollen. And she just like talks about just moving and just all these hallucinations that she had. And when I asked you that was the first thing I thought of, was like, oh yeah, I remember when I watched Diana speak and talk about those hallucinations, and just thinking like, so do you like train past some of those hallucinations? Like, how do you make yourself keep going? Like, is there ever a point where you, like you said, I knew I was hallucinating, I knew that wasn't real. Like, where's that kind of gray area?
Yeah. I mean, most of the time it's just lack of calories. So like, I knew like if I could just get some calories and some caffeine, I'd probably be fine. But then I was having trouble I was just having trouble moving, quick. So yeah, but it was fine. I mean, I knew like if I just keep eating and drinking, usually I'll come back around. And a lot of times you start to like get a little bonky or just kind of feel like tired when it's your bedtime, but I was well past my bedtime. So I was like, it's not that. So it was basically just a lack of calories. So once you're able to kind of address that, and I had enough experience to kind of know like, hey, if I can just keep going, this will go away. And that's basically what happened. But then they came back the next night, and so like I was like, wow, this is weird. But it was fine. I was kind of done at that point anyhow. But it would have been like the cool thing about it is like to see how you are going to kind of navigate your way through it. And so like I kind of look forward to those experiences, because those are always the ones that are the most impactful, right? It's like when everything's going easy and like, everything's, you're keeping all the food down and everything tastes fine. Like that's great. But like, it's when you have like the challenges that you get the most growth and you kind of figure out things. And, that's kind of what I'm looking for. And sometimes, you're up for the challenge, and other times like you're like, hey, this is more than I'm capable of right now, and you kind of have to readdress it. And so I feel like not to bring it back everything to running across the country, but I feel like I am going to have a lot of those kind of experiences where it's going to be more than I've ever done before, and I'm going to have some issues, and one of those issues could be hallucinations, and how am I going to address that? And I'm going to try what I've always tried, is like eat something and drink. And usually that works. And then if that doesn't work, then I'm going to have to try something else.
No, that's true, right? Just get some calories in and keep moving. But I love, how you said, like, you're going to have so many of those experiences in this next, like, big feat running across America. Like, I mean, what does that look like? Where does it start? Where does it finish? How many miles is it? And like, another question I have actually before that is, do you have a team of people, like people that support you? Are you the last call on the person that says like, I'm going to keep going? Is there anyone that you're like, okay, if you see me and I, I don't know, like can someone say like, hey, we're, no more? Does that make sense? Like, do you have someone that's like,
oh yeah. Yeah. Like my safe word.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
my safe word.
Absolutely. Do you have a safe word and a person that knows your safe word? And like, do you get to decide if you continue to see these hallucinations and keep going? Or is it like,
No, that's a great call, man. I haven't thought of that, but I probably should. And I guess it probably would be my wife, but she's pretty hard. So yeah, she'd be good because she would like she would just be like, no, come on, you got to buck up and get it back out there. But yeah, so I think she would be a person that I would trust to know, if things are going really bad and I need to, stop for some reason, she would be a good person to be able to make that call. So yeah, I definitely should set up some kind of like strategy for that. It's weird though. I never thought about not making it. So like, I don't know if that's just like ignorance or what, but like, I feel like I would like the biggest factor is like getting through the first couple of weeks. And I know that's going to be tough. And so the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to run from San Francisco to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where we have like a beach house. And so it'll be ocean to ocean. So Pacific Ocean to Atlantic Ocean, starting at the Golden Gate Bridge is my dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a race of one.
Oh yeah, totally. It's just me. And so it's not, I'm not even racing.
I wouldn't imagine there was a big group of people, but in my head, when you're talking about, and even, we didn't talk about it much more than we did. We just pressed record when we started and I knew a little bit about what you were doing. Okay. So you created the race for you and you're doing it.
Yeah. It's not as much of a race. It's more just like, I want to do this undertaking. And so like, I just want to see if it's possible. And my goal would be to average like 50 miles a day. And so that would be running hopefully between 12 and 14 hours a day. And so if I do that, and I'm still like messing around a little bit with the mileage, but the mileage is around 3,237.4 miles right now, based on the route that I'm doing. And I'm basically going to run on a route, Route 50, which runs across the country. It's called like America's Loneliest Highway. And it's got parts of like a lot of cool other trails, I guess. Like it's got part of the Pony Express Trail. It's got part of the Lincoln Highway. It's runs right by my house, which is really cool. Like both my houses. So like my house in Arlington, Virginia. So I definitely want to come through Washington, DC and Arlington. And then run across to the ocean in Maryland. So, and we're going to finish in Delaware, but like through Maryland to Delaware. And so like that's the ultimate goal. And then I want to go through some of the like cities and states like that I'm excited about are Utah, Nevada, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia. I was born in West Virginia, so it'll be cool to kind of run through there and then, ending up in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, of course, and finishing in Delaware. And so like, that's kind of like the big plan. And then, there's stretches that are ridiculously long. And so like, hopefully I can share it with my dad. So he's, going to be hopefully part of my crew for a majority of it. And so I think it'll be like, I was just saying to somebody, like, I can't imagine how awesome it would be to see my son or daughter, like, have this big dream that they want to do and be able to help in some way. And so I think it'll be a cool father-son thing, but, yeah, I'm looking forward to that experience because, yeah, I know I'd want to help my kids if they were doing something like this. And I think it'll be a cool, like, bonding experience with him. And he's always doing these, like, he's always done like big things like hiking trails or doing outside stuff. And the chance for him to help with this I think it'll be really cool.
So cool. So you have a crew, your dad's part of it. Who else is like there to support you? Do you sleep in a tent? Do you have hotels? Like, what is the like logistics of all of this look like? Okay, let's just say paint a picture of, let's say, a couple days, a week. Like, what would you do throughout, each of these? You said 50 miles a day. So,
right. Well,
not running time, is someone cooking for you? Do you eat at restaurants? Like, what are you going to do? What does this look like?
Yeah. So I think it might be somewhat of a hybrid. And so between like doing some of it like with a stroller by myself, and then hopefully I'm going to have an RV, like a recreational vehicle, like that'll be able to set up 40 or 50 miles from where I am. So I'll have somewhere to sleep and have food and stuff. And then throughout the day, hopefully I can have someone come and give me like lunch and snacks. And so my dream, if everything goes the way I'm hoping, I'd start running between like 5 and 6 in the morning and run until 4 or 5 at night, and then get all my mileage done, get food in, and then go to bed and do it again and again and again and again. And that would be the ideal, way to do it. It'd just be Groundhog Day. Basically everyone I've talked to that has done it is like, yeah, you just want to make it as the same as the day before as possible. So like, kind of eat at the same time, start running at the same time, take a break at the same time. And obviously it's not going to be like that every day, because there's going to be weather, there's going to be mountains, there's going to be road construction, there's going to be getting lost, there's going to be, me not feeling like it, or having an injury of some sort. And so like, those are all the things that you're going to have to deal with as they come up. But yeah, I mean, real life happens too, and so like, that's what I'm hoping it's going to be like, but it's a long time to be gone. And so like, things can come up with the family or, with my work or whatever. And so like, I'm going to try to put things in place that'll address those, but if I have to stop and go do something, then I will. But I'll just come back and pick it up and try to get across as fast as I can. And so I'm hoping to start at the end of April, early May, and finish before the 4th of July. That would be awesome. Like if I could finish on the 4th of July, that would be amazing.
Okay. So a couple months, 2.5, what is that? 2.5 months? Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like 65 days maybe. But if I'm feeling good and like I get into a groove and I can go faster, I would obviously like to go faster. And if I'm not able to go faster, then I'm not. But I'm going to take as much time as I need to get across. And but yeah, I mean the goal would, in my head, I think it'd be awesome to do like I'll be 48 next year, and if I could beat like 48 days for some reason, I think that would be amazing. But that would be a lot more miles per day, and I just don't know if I don't know if I'm strong enough to do that. And I feel like I ran across Israel a couple of years ago and I was averaging like 62, 63 miles a day. So like, I know my body's capable of it, but again, it's just a different beast. 10 days as opposed to 60 days is, that's like, running a mile compared to your 5K. Right? It's the same, but different.
Yeah. You said you talked to people who have done this before. So
I've talked to lots of people
before, like, and what's their main advice besides like the habits and routines? Is there anything that someone's given you where you're like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. Thanks for that. Advice, like what would that be like?
Well, there's a lot of things that I've learned just talking to people and reading books and whatnot. I mean, I've been asking, pretty specific questions. So like the gas for the RV, like, you could kind of, calculate how many miles you're going to go and like the average price of gas and say like, okay, it's going to be like $8,000 or something. But like what I didn't realize is that the RV idles a lot. So you burn a lot of gas just by having the RV on. And so like, that was one thing that I didn't think about, like the hookup fees for the RV, like, oh, you have to like find somewhere to discharge the waste. You have to like pay for the water. You have to like pay for a generator if you want to like have the microwave on. And so like, having an electric cord, like where are you going to park it? Like all these things where it's like, oh gosh, maybe it's easier just to go in a stroller by myself, And so like, those things were helpful. Also, I've heard a lot of people say like they're like some of the little towns that I thought like, oh, I could sleep there or get food there. Like since COVID, like a lot of the little restaurants have gone out of business. And so like, if you're not going to have support, like it's going to be hard, especially as a vegetarian, like eating out of a gas station. And so like, those are the things where I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I didn't realize that like all this restaurants would be closed. And then just like the weather, the route, like just knowing that, the route you have in your head might not actually be the route that you're doing, but also that Google works really well. Like, so like if you, like I'm sponsored by T-Mobile. And so like, hopefully I'll be able to, have service, but if you don't have service, you can download the maps ahead of time. And so you just have the directions. So that all that stuff. And I've gotten pretty good at that, doing a lot of FKTs on my own, like, or with a small support crew, kind of like I would have for the run across the country. And so like just being familiar with like feeling comfortable, like running with your phone in your hand and like kind of knowing like, oh, okay, I need to go on this street or that street. That was all good advice. And then as far as like budgeting, like just how much things are going to cost. And that, it is, some of the people I talked to said like, it's nice to like sleep in a hotel like once a week or even more if you can swing it. And so like looking for those opportunities, like when you have them to like, get a proper shower and like make sure you clean your feet and, all the little things like that when you're running that kind of volume every day, like you gotta really take away anything that's going to keep you from doing what you want to do. And so like being very diligent about like making sure you switch socks, but then like, okay, then how are you going to do your laundry and like all that kind of stuff? Like, or do you just have like a lot of socks? Like I'm lucky I'm sponsored by Injinji. And so like I have a lot of socks, but like I don't have, 60 pairs of socks. And so like, I don't want to just use one pair a day. Like I don't want to be wasteful. So, yeah.
Like, but all that stuff people would then bring to you. So you don't like, I'm just trying to envision like you're going to go, okay, so you're going to be, let's say you decide to stop for weather or whatever, like you just stay in that location where you stopped with said RV, or let's say you said stroller, like I guess that's something you push with like all your stuff that you might need to like camp or have for the next.
Right. Yeah. Like
right?
a jog, like you'd have a baby in, but you just put like water and like your jacket and a tent and like an emergency blanket and food. So yeah. So
for that like bout of whatever you said, 50 miles or however long.
Right.
Do it. Okay.
Right. Cool. Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking is like, and then if I can, like, hopefully I'm going to have people come in throughout. Like, I know my friend Phil wants to help. Like, I know one of my sponsors, Goo, wants to help the California section. And I'm going to open it up to people. Like, if they want to come and like Forrest Gump and run with me, like that would be awesome. Like, I would love to have people like join for a day or a couple days and, run 1 mile or 50 miles. Like when I was running across Israel, I had like, at some points, like 20 people running with me. And it was just awesome, like just to have those kind of experiences. And you get to meet so many cool people. And so like, that's one of the reasons that I've waited this long is because during the pandemic, I didn't think like the whole point was to like see the country and meet people. And like, it wasn't as possible, but now like with the vaccines and with, COVID being a little bit more under control, it feels like, I want to have that chance to like, go into places and meet people and see things.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Like that race vibe or whatever you're creating, just the vibe around and people seeing that. And I was thinking in my head when you're like, yeah, this person might come and meet up. I was just thinking that's like it's really a master plan. Like there's so many logistics, to coordinate that. And then I was going to ask, do you have any plans to like let people know where you are so people could go run, or I don't know, interview you while you're running, or just kind of share this experience with the world, because it's really going to be, you're doing it, but it's so much, bigger than you. And I'm sure that that, because like when people get to, run next to you and experience that, yeah, it might feel great for you, but it's going to be so great for them. And they'll always have that memory of, remember that one time that guy ran across America, we ran with him for a little bit. Like it's,
yeah.
Said, it's not that you're, you could still run, right? I mean, it was possible to run. I don't know, maybe if not across state lines at certain points, whatever, but it's like now that things have loosened up a bit and people are getting together and able to just have more experiences together, this will be a really, really great experience for everybody. This will be super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it'll be great. Like, yeah, I'm planning to share it on social. So like, I'm hopefully going to be able to do like a daily kind of like little video or something. Like I know I'll be tired, and hopefully I'll have service, throughout the course of the trip. But yeah, I'll be like, hey, today I'm running from St. Louis to Salem, Illinois. It's 77 miles and, it's June 15th, 2022. If anyone wants to join, that would be great. And then, hopefully maybe I do a post in the morning and say like, this was my goal. And then I do a post at night and saying like, oh, actually, instead of 77 miles, I only did 40 miles and I didn't get all the way to Salem, but I ended up here. And like, we had a bad headwind, or, there was traffic, or the car broke down, or I don't know, whatever happens, but just like kind of like put the distance, the time, and like, I don't know if I'll hopefully I'll be able to do a video each day and just say like, hey, today was easy, today was hard. But just kind of keep it short and hopefully informative. And like, I know every time I've followed like people, it's like, it blows me away, but it's like, also, it just feels like you're part of it. Like you said, like you're like invested in this person, and like each day you want to send them good vibes, and you want to be part of their journey. And so like, hopefully I can bring people in, through my social media channels and through the sponsors that I work with. And hopefully, I'm looking for people to be a part of this. So like, I don't know if people want to donate to help make it happen. I still don't know if I feel like I want to do that, but like, as far as like donating their time and their energy and like just their good vibes, like I definitely want that. And so like, I think it would be cool for, I know it's cool for me, like when I followed people that have done this, like to have like an ability to be a part of it. And so like, I'm hoping that people want to, follow along and come out if they can. There's some places where it's going to be hard, like Ely, Nevada, like not really close to anything, but like San Francisco.
Ely, it's ILY, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's when my grandpa was born. No, he wasn't born. When he came from Italy to America, he moved to Ely, Nevada. And he always talks about how, maybe he says it different or we say it different, but
no, you're right. I was saying it wrong. Yeah.
He was like, it's like he always talks about little Ely, Nevada. We came from Italy. It was on a boat that, just he tells the whole story. And that's the town I've never been, but you'll run through there and you can, my grandpa, that's where they settled after they came from Italy.
Yeah. Well, and it's supposedly it's amazing. Like that part of the country is like very, very beautiful. But there's not a lot there. So like, it's, it's going to be far. You're not quite to like, it's just in the middle of Nevada. So like or Nevada, like actually I was debating with a guy from here. I say Nevada, but I think most people out there say Nevada, right?
Yeah, I'm from California, so we say Nevada, but I'm tomato, Nevada. I think that, however you say it is. I don't know. I guess I would leave it up to someone who's from there to let me know. Right.
I feel like everyone I know from there says Nevada.
Just let us know. Send us the pronunciation. Maybe we can look it up on Wikipedia. You can think about that while you're running. How can we get involved? So what's the best way for everybody to stay connected? Should we follow you on social media? What is, I think, like you said, you don't know, like, I think that any way that people can donate, even if it's just like their gratitude, their time, their, money, like support, like you said, running. I think all of it is really great, and everyone gets to choose how they, give when you give them the opportunity to give. So sometimes I know it can kind of feel like, oh, I don't know. Do I want people to come? Do I want them to donate? How do people get involved? I just think it's so cool when people have the opportunity to get involved in any way that they want. So where should we find you if we want to?
Yeah, I feel like on social. And so like I haven't set up like a website for it or anything like that. So just on my social. So it's at Mike Wardian on Instagram and Twitter, and then Michael Wardian on Facebook. And my buddy and I were just saying, like, we're going to do TikTok. I haven't done TikTok yet, but I feel like it's definitely something that I'm looking into. And then hopefully I'll be able to do like a YouTube channel too. So like, but it's one of those things where like right now it's primarily Instagram and Twitter. And then again, it's at Mike Wardian, WARD like dog, IAN like Nancy. And then Facebook, Michael Wardian. So it's like those kind of three are the main platforms. And so I'm going to just be posting stuff there. And as it gets closer, like, and I know more of like who's supporting it as far as sponsors and people, there may be opportunities for like swag or something like that. But I definitely want to give people a chance to be involved. And so, yeah, if people want to come and be a part of the run at different points, that'll be cool. And hopefully I'll be able to like post my route. And kind of estimated itinerary. And if, so right now I've got it like May 1st going through July 5th. But that definitely is subject to change depending on how fast and far I can go each day.
So cool. So awesome. So we'll just link all the social media channels you mentioned in the show notes. So you guys can check out Mike's social and stay up to date and follow him. The time we're recording this is middle November, but we'll have this episode up within like the next 2 to 3 weeks for sure. So people will have plenty of time to follow you and like get excited and follow your training and just kind of be a part of this. I think this is super cool. And actually I'm already thinking, I can't wait to figure out where you're going to be and when. I would love to meet up and run and just be there. And maybe we could do a little podcast episode while we're on the run.
Oh man, that would be great. Yeah.
Where are you now? I just think that would be so cool. So I'm excited to make that happen. I think that would be super cool. Thank you so much for being here. I think this is so cool that we got to talk and catch up like this and just get a little bit more of, what it means to be like the human behind some of these things that people would call like amazing or unreal or out of this world. It's like, I think you're out of this world freaking amazing, but you're also like a badass human, which is super cool just to be like, we're the same, in the sense that I'm sure this is how you felt when your friend's mom, was running a marathon. It's like, oh, another person, like I could do that. And I think that when you share some of those things of, the real life and what this looks like, and then setting this up and logistics behind it and like the preparation and all of that, I feel like we're all in our own, race across America, whatever that might look like for us, and doing the thing to show up and then, having grace for yourself and everything. I just feel like is so cool in what you're doing in this big, this big feat. So I'm so excited for you. And anything else you want to leave us with? What's like your favorite quote of all time? I don't know, favorite book of all time. Leave us with something that's you.
Yeah, I always have this quote that just like be relentless, which I feel like it's not original. I don't think. I feel like a lot of people use that, but like I feel like it is something that gives me a lot of solace. Like I think like that relentless pursuit of excellence is what drives me. I feel like that's something that I try to strive for each and every day, and it can look different to different people, but like just always trying to get better, be better. That's important to me. And that's, something that I hope that I can inspire people to do on their end. And then I guess favorite book, the one that comes to mind is Ayn Rand, like the Atlas Shrugged. Like I really like that book. I think that it's long though. I'll just warn people, like it's really long, but it might be a good one, like to listen to while you run or, ride your bike or something. But like, I thought that was impactful to me. And then as far as like hopefully people can see a guy that, has a full-time job, like has kids, has a wife and family, and still finds time to do these things and still dreams. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I'd like to impart is like, make sure that you still continue to, chase your own dreams. Like, even though you have all these other obligations, it's not selfish to, think that you want to do something for yourself, and it'll make you a better partner and person for everyone else in your life. So remember to chase your own dreams too.
Love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and for being here with us and answering all my questions as I'm like, explain this. Okay, what do you mean? What does this look like? And I just know that, I'm so excited to watch this unfold. And I know everybody listening is probably like I am, kind of on the edge of my seat, just excited to see what this looks like and how this pans out. So thank you so much for being here. And all the best. I look forward to running with you at some point next year.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast. Hey, do me a favor. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, give us a review. This really helps a lot. And share this with a friend. I'm only one person, and with your help, we can really spread the message of self-love and sweat and change more lives all around the world. I'm Lunden Souza, reminding you that you deserve a life full of passion, presence, and purpose, fueled by self-love and sweat. This podcast is a Hit Spot Austria production.